What's up, Sierra Leone? This is Emmanuel out of 600. You can call me 600 the God, and you are live on the Court of Public Opinion, where I preside over as the Pilato. So on the Court of Public Opinion, we talk about interesting topics that is making rounds on social media and topics that the majority of citizens are concerned with. So what has been brought to my court today, and what am I presiding over? I'm presiding over a case between Koidu Holdings Limited and Her Excellency, the First Lady Fatima Maada of Sierra Leone, the First Lady of the land. What is the issue? Most often than not, multinational companies come into Africa, settle in our country, make money out of our country, and break so many laws and take our citizens for granted. Is this the case of Koidu Holdings in Sierra Leone? Or this is a case of a political witch hunt by Her Excellency Fatima Maada? Which is which? Let me know your opinion on it, because this issue is hot and I'm here to give you my 2 cents on it. What am I seeing? I'm seeing $50 million and 13 lawyers on the side. That is on the side of what? Her Excellency Fatima Bill. And Koidu Holdings is also taking the First Lady to court. Apparently for what? Defamation. They are defaming them and what? And inciting the citizens against their company. So, an unlawful, more like trespassing. This is what Koidu Holdings is saying. So let's get into the case. How did we get here? Which entity is Koidu Holdings? So Koidu Holdings Limited has been in Sierra Leone since 1995. They signed a 25-year agreement in 2010. They reviewed it and extended their agreement to 2030. When the government extends your contract, what does it mean? It simply means the government is satisfied with the job you've done so far, and that is why they are extending it. That is it. So what is happening? Koidu Holdings, according to Sierra Loaded, this is a reportage from this, that is my source. They are saying that 900 employees. On the other hand, I'm also hearing another figure, 1,205 employees. That's 1,250 employees have been laid off from Koidu Holdings. Apparently, why? Because of conditions of service. What are the conditions of service? That they work overtime, they are not getting paid. They are underpaid. And even if they work overtime, they are not what? Getting paid. So they are literally embarking on this strike based on what? The conditions of service. Now let's get into the legalities. Why did Koidu Holdings lay the workers off? So on March 3rd, Koidu Holdings, according to their presser or their letter, that on March 3rd, 11 p.m., these workers, over 900 workers from Koidu Holdings, went on an illegal strike, demanding a change or an amendment in the terms of what? Service, or the conditions of service. And this has led to their layoff. So Koidu Holdings is saying that it's terminated the contract of these workers because, one, they were supposed to follow a certain code of conduct. They didn't follow. Firstly, what were they supposed to do? They were supposed to give Koidu Holdings in a written letter 21 days notice of their intentions. That is what they were first of all supposed to do. Secondly, They extended an olive branch, telling them to come back after staying away from work for over 10 business days, which forced the company, that's Koidu Holdings, to go into maintenance and care. That means they weren't producing. For all these 10 days, that means they lost money. After trying several routes to get them to negotiate or to get them to dialogue, proved futile. Even when they used the ministry, it proved futile. So they had no other choice than to lay these workers off on the basis of what? Misconduct and illegal strike, according to the workers' handbook that they signed. That is the code and the employment letter. So this is what Koidu Holdings is saying. One, they went on an illegal strike. Two, the company tried to call them so that they could settle things amicably. They didn't show. That's from 12th of March to 20th of March. They didn't show. They still stuck to their guns that they were going to stay home. And based on this, they sacked all the 900 workers for violating section 64 and 67 of the act. That means they didn't comply. This is what brought Her Excellency Fatima Bio to this whole conversation. What was she trying to do? She was trying to negotiate for her people. Why someone would ask, why is she coming in? Possibly from a standpoint where she's the president's wife and tops up as the first lady, she's looking at, if you lay these people off, there is going to be a cause of insecurity in our system, because already you are laying 900 workers, or let's say 1,250 workers off. These people are responsible for so many families. You understand? Let's say even if it's a family of 3, multiply it by 1,000. That is, so it's going to affect well over 6,000 to 10,000 people, this layoff. So she wasn't just going to sit there. She was trying to get in to what? To get Koidu Holdings to come to a middle ground, together with what? The Koidu Workers Union. But the company pushed back and they're like, no, Her Excellency, you cannot bargain, or you cannot intervene on behalf of these workers, because you are not legally recognized, or you are not a legally recognized party to partake in these negotiations according to the collective bargain agreement. So we cannot have any conversation with you. And this is when things began to get a little bit steamy. So the first lady took to social media to explain her side of the story. Like, I'm always going to save my people. I am for the people of Sierra Leone. And we would not let you take them for a ride. You are going to pay them what they are due, even if they work overtime. And you cannot be using outdated exchange rates to pay these workers. That is what Her Excellency said. So, Koidu Holdings, in turn, felt that the first lady, one, is not legally supposed to intervene in their personal business, because she's not a legally recognized party as part of the agreement to kind of lead some of these negotiations. And the first lady is also causing public disaffection to them, or for them, and is defaming their company. Why are they saying the first lady is defaming their company? They are saying the first lady is defaming their company because the first lady stated that the Corruption and Organized Crime Investigative Unit, this is an investigative journalism unit, which she's come under scrutiny by, or which is investigating her, are being pushed by Koidu Holdings. Allegedly, that is what the first lady said. And this also made them angry, and they are suing the first lady for defamation, that you are causing public disaffection because they are a private entity and they are not behind this investigative work going on. So that means she's suing, like the company is suing them. The first lady also went by saying, yes, they are involved because of what? Several reasons which she outlined in her presser. So that is what brought about the issues. The first lady is also suing Koidu Holdings for $50 million because she claims they threatened her, like the lawyers of Koidu Holdings threatened her via email, and when she decided not to succumb to what they are saying, they tried to cause public disaffection to her, and she is going to fight for Sierra Leone even with her last breath. This is very serious. The company has its interests. The first lady is also saying that she is suing the company for defamation and causing public disaffection for them at a staggering $50 million. What do you think? The issues are still unfolding and it's very interesting. What do you think? Is Koidu Holdings bringing back all these workers on board now that this case or this whole scenario has turned into a court case? But now let's get into the specifics. If you look at the actions Koidu Holdings took, they did it within the law, the confines of the law, because they are saying that the employer signed an agreement document, the employment document, and they have all these laws governing them, and they were supposed to follow, because you can't be working for a private company, go on strike, and they call you and you do not report. That means if it's a violation, they have the clear right to lay off all these citizens. It's not pleasant, but we are talking of what? The law. Does the first lady also have the right? Yes, absolutely. She also has the right, if she thinks they are defaming her and whatnot, to carry them to court. So what do you think about this issue? I may not be right in my reporting or my assessment. Let me know. Let's have an intellectual discourse on what you think is right, what should be, and what not. Because our nations or the countries in Africa always sit aloof for these multinational companies to always take them for a ride. Because you realize that some of these contracts they sign are absolutely insane. They sign contracts literally giving all of our natural resources to these companies, and they take a penny or peanuts. They do not even have up to 10% shares in the company, and they are not even receiving up to 10% in revenue. How can a whole nation stoop that low? It's high time we looked at all these things. But in the meantime, we are talking about the court case. Is it within the confines of the law? Did Koidu Holdings act within the confines of the law? What do you think about First Lady trying to intervene? Who is right? Let me get it. My name is Emmanuel out of 600, and you've been live on the Court of Public Opinion, where I preside over as the Pilato. I'm signing out.